It is cold as hell out here. Look at that wind blowing the water off. It's falling down there. But yeah, you can see how windy it is. But yeah. So I'm in the middle of a library right now, so I have to make this video quickly, and I hope you can hear me for at least most of this video. See right here, I'm very far in the back by the wall right here. So I have a few bullet points I want to cover. First off, I want to update you guys and tell you that I am reading your comments and stuff. I'm keeping up with all that. And what happened is the reason I haven't uploaded recently is because I was at one homeless shelter that they call the Jungle. It's a lot freer, but they allow a lot of crazy people. The second place I went to was a residential center, and it's a lot more structured. You have to report to a lot more places. Now, I was at the Jungle for a little over 2 weeks, then I went to the residential center, which is a much better place. You can eat inside the day room and a bunch of other stuff, other details I can get into in a later video. I was over there for 5 days. Is it snowing? And you can kind of see it. I was over at the residential center for 5 days, and then there was a mentally unstable man interacting with police. They were saying, "What day is it?" He said the correct day, but he said 2024. And I was recording that, and then I kind of, no, I didn't put that interaction on social media, but I put something type of interaction with police. And then this was at the residential center that I was at for 5 days, and they put me out because one of the women made an announcement to the entire breakfast room. She was like, "I have the authority to make this a no phones facility. This is a safe space. No one wants to see their face blasted on social media. And if you did record anybody, report to my front office." So I was sitting in the front room after breakfast, waiting to report to her office. But then she came out and said, "You know what? I'm not even going to deal with this. You're trying to make your videos private," which means, like, I was like, how does she know? Oh wait, she found my exact YouTube page, and then she was like, "I have screenshots. What you did was disgusting." And then she told other people, "I don't want you anywhere near my building." I didn't cuss out anybody. I didn't fight anybody. Like, there are so many people who get into fights all the time with other homeless people and with staff. And I'm gonna go ahead and update you guys. Last night, I finally got a job last week, and I just got my first check this past Thursday, so 3 days ago. And it is cold as hell outside. I had gloves and stuff right here, and I have a backpack with some of my stuff. But I have to be there at the homeless shelter by 3 a.m. I got a 2-month extension once I started working, so that's great. And I got a new case manager. Now, last night when I got back, you have to eat at the front because you can't bring food inside the homeless shelter. So I was sitting down eating curly fries, and then there was a homeless man who came in and got food, and then there were 3 chairs. I was 3 chairs, 1, 2, 3, and then on the other wall there were 2 chairs, and out of those 3 chairs, I sat in the middle chair, and then this homeless man sat right next to me, and he was laughing and stuff. He had a bunch of scratches on the front of his nose. He had an open sore right here that was down to the white meat and stuff, and he had scabs all over his hands. And I got up, and the security at the front, because he wasn't living there, he was just getting food super early in the morning, like after 2:30, I guess, around that time. I forget exactly when. I got up and moved to the other 2 chairs, and then I walked through the metal detector, and once I was past that, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, I don't like people sitting next to me who I don't know, so next time, just if I'm sitting over there, you can sit over there, just for next time, because I don't want that type of conflict." He was looking at me, but he was dead silent. Also, when I got up to move, he started laughing, and then he was looking down in his bag. Then he looked up at me and just stared at me for a few seconds. Then I looked at him, and I was like, I was just like, I gave him like a side eye, and then he was laughing again. It's just like, not just, but it's not just the guests. Sometimes it's the staff members. So this morning, my case manager put last this past week, um, this past week, I I told him to put it in his notes that I have to take a shower um, before 12, and he said he did that. So this morning, um, I was sleeping because he put in my notes for me to sleep in because they wake everybody up at 6. He put in his notes for everybody to sleep in. He put in his notes for me to sleep in. So when I got up, I have to get up at 10, 9:30, 10 a.m. so I can have enough time to get in the shower. And my knees are super sore from the marathon, by the way. So I had to, but it's getting a little bit better. I just can't. I can kick my legs out and bring them back. Well, I have trouble kicking them all the way out when I'm sitting down, and I have trouble bending my knees when I'm standing up, which is weird. But I have no problem standing straight up when I'm standing, and I have no problem bending my knees when I'm sitting down. So I just did the marathon yesterday. Um, but when I was trying to get in the shower, the laundry room was locked and the shower was locked. And the actual bathroom upstairs was locked. The laundry and shower are upstairs. So I went downstairs and asked the lady at the front. She was like, he has it in your notes that you can get a sack lunch and you can sleep in, but not to shower. I'm like, he just told me he marked that down. We had a meeting earlier this week, I believe. Our first meeting was last week, I think. But, and then we have to meet up again on the 12th of November. So, and I told the front office lady, I was like, what? He told me he specifically told me he put that down. Like, why are these people not putting it down? I had to chase him down just to put me on the sleep in list. And she had to have somebody take me up there. Now, the guy who took me up there, I dealt with him last week when I was sleeping in, but I was not on the list. I told him I had a job and I was getting in the shower. I was sitting in the bathroom getting out of the shower. Then he took me out because I was fully clothed. He was like, you're not supposed to be sitting in the bathroom like that. And I was like, I was about to get in the shower. My clothes are right here. And then he closed the bathroom and locked the door. That's what happened in a previous interaction. I think it was earlier this week or last week. And then when he took me back to my bed, he said, you have to wait in your bed and you can't be in the bathroom if you're not getting in the shower. And I was like, I was about to. And then he was like, the bathroom's not supposed to be open and you're just going to take advantage of that. Like he was tilting his head. And I was like, take advantage of what? The bathroom was open. He was like, he told me the staff was supposed to have it closed. I'm like, that's okay. Like, that's not my fault. Well, I didn't say that, but I was like, I mean, the bathroom was open. That was pretty much the point I was making to him. And then he was like, he was trying to say something. And then I was like, you're escalating right now. You're escalating. Like this one person who works at the first homeless shelter that I got sent back to, it feels like he's just there to boss people around because he was homeless before because he showed us his ID for the homeless shelter. And he also has been to prison for a very long time. So I think he takes some of that with him and he's trying to like be a prison warden. Like he's trying to be like that. He's funny and he's cool sometimes, but he's also the main one that has issues. And that was back several days ago. Today, this morning, this same guy was sent to take me up to the shower. I asked him to, he opened the bathroom door and I said, all I need is 2 towels, please. And then he was like, this ain't a hotel service. You get what, you use what you came with. So then there was a hamper outside that had sheets. I had 2 sheets last night that I put in there. I grabbed one of my sheets and had to use those. The laundry room was right next to the bathroom, but he didn't want to open it. Like this one guy is like really mean. And yeah, I went ahead and got ready. And yeah, that was one of the worries I had when I first came to this homeless shelter, is that people would be like very inconsiderate and not try to help you. Like, I'm not trying to get 5-star treatment. Like I'm just saying there's a room right there with towels. Like asking for towels is not like, I'm not trying to get you to be a servant or anything. That's just basic. You have clean towels, let me use them. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. But when I came down, he was calling people for lunch and he got into an argument with Now this guy's black. This guy that I'm talking about is black. He got into an argument with an older white dude who had a backpack, and the staff member was like, "You need to put that bag away," because he gets really aggressive when he says it. He's like, because when I had a bag, I was about to leave, and I was placing it down on the table. He was like, "You need to do something about that bag." I'm like, "Okay, I'm about to leave for work." And then he was like, "Yeah, okay, well, you need to do something about that bag." And it's like, he really acts like a prison warden. Like, he really acts like he's there to boss people around. And he had gotten to an argument this morning after I dealt with him not giving me a towel. He told the white guy, "You need to," he said, "I'm the boss here." He really said that out of his mouth. He was like, "I'm the boss here. You need to take that bag and leave." Well, he was like, "You need to take that bag and put it out." And then the white guy was like, "I have a disability. This is stupid." And then the black staff member, who was like in his 50s, late 50s, maybe early 50s, he was like, "You're stupid. You're stuck on stupid." That's what the staff member said to the older white gentleman who had the bag. And then later on, this black staff member was like, "Can't we all just get along, man?" And it's like, you're the one who's like escalating. That's what I told him several days ago when I was dealing with him, and he wouldn't let me get in the shower. And when he let me get in the shower today, he wouldn't get me a towel. So this guy just has a lot of issues with a lot of people. And there was another time a few days ago where he told someone to put the bag up, and it was a younger black dude, and he was like, "I'm gonna put it up, you fucking nut. Leave me the fuck alone." But yeah, I just want you guys to know, when I got sent out of the residential center and came back to the jungle, she was asking me why I got put out. And I said, "Oh, because I was recording. There was a disabled man who had an interaction with police, and I was fearing for his safety." And then this case manager that I had back at this first place, she was like, "Okay, well, just make sure you don't record, because if you record here, you can get put out for that." So that's why I took some of the videos down. And the punishment for recording or at either of those two homeless facilities is that you get put out. Now I plan to be out of here in the next 2 months, because I have a 2-month extension. I really want to be out of here as soon as possible. I'm not trying to live here. Some people, you get 10 days. If you don't get an extension, or you're not trying to improve yourself, you get 10 days every month. So October 1st through October 10th, just for example, then you have to leave for the rest of the month, then come back. Some people have been in and out of homeless shelters for 20 plus years. I just went homeless because I got evicted and ran out of money. I'm still trying to better my education, still trying to be clean, taking showers. There's homeless guests who reek. The problem is not just some of the homeless people who live there. Sorry, my phone almost fell off my lap. But the problem is some of the staff members. There's only one real staff member that I noticed really has issues with, like, going on a power trip and ego and stuff like that. He smiles sometimes, he laughs sometimes, but when he's telling people to do stuff, he's really trying to bully people, probably the same way that prison guards would bully him, or try and just talk down to him. And he calls people little bro and stuff like that who are younger. And yeah, that's and when I was sleeping before I got up, he was calling the front office asking about me while I was laying down. And the front office lady said, "He's fine. You can let him sleep until 12. And the front office lady was super nice, because this is her second time letting me shower after they locked the bathroom upstairs. And I last week, or over this past week, I think early this week, I was calling so many hotels in a row, so many local hotels downtown here in Indy, to try and get in contact with managers. They said, "Call this person tomorrow. They'll be here from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then I would call them at 9:08, 9:15, and they would say, "She should be here by 10 a.m., but she also works from home some days." So just the rigmarole, how much bullshit you have to deal with when you're homeless. I was, with all the bullshit over here with me not having freedom, having to go on curfews as a grown man, Originally, I'm supposed to be back by 8:30, and I had to fight to get that extension until 3 a.m. Well, not really fight. It was just the minute I got hired, my manager wrote down my hours from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., but it varies. And this morning was super cold because I actually closed at 2 a.m. along just me and the manager by ourselves, and she offered to drive me home. And today, I don't think it has touched 40 degrees. It's been consistently cold. But yeah, last night, which means this morning, it was, what was it? What's usually a 20-minute walk to get to work was a 7-minute drive back home. It was 2:17 when we left, and then 2:24 when we arrived. And that was after she passed the street of the homeless shelter and had to like do another turn. But yeah, just I'm trying to get out of this homeless shelter because I just want to be, I just need a place to lay my head down. And you can't even bring your own food. Like, and I had a bunch of chips today at the homeless shelter, and they just throw that stuff away. They throw away fully uneaten bags of chips, uneaten granola bars and stuff like that, when they're having lunch and dinner or stuff like that. So, but the good thing is a lot of people will give you food that they don't want. But I never let people use my phone. I never, what's it called? I never let people use my phone to call people. Um, I never let people use my charger, and I never give people money. The funny thing is, the people that have asked me for those three things are people that I have not. People have asked me for those things, but I never really knew them super personally. There's only a few people at the homeless shelter that I got to know really personally, like had conversations with. And yeah, there was another time where there was a guy. We were waiting in line to see a case manager, and we have to move up seats every time someone gets called up. And I was trying to wake him up, and he was like, "Man, you don't gotta do that, man. Damn." And then I was like, "Okay." And then he was like, "You can, matter of fact, you can sit over here." So he let me sit in front of him. And then there was an older white guy in front of me. He was like, "You tried to do him a solid, and that ended up paying off for you." And I was like, "Yeah, man." And then that black guy who got angry at me and let me sit in front of him, he got angry at me for trying to wake him up. He was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, man. It's just a lot of weird ass MFers over here." And then a few minutes later, he asked me to use his phone. I was like, "I don't have enough battery power." He was asking multiple people, then he asked me. So it's just, it pays to be kind, because you don't know if I would have let you use my phone, but because of your behavior, which, by the way, I think there's a lot of people who are either high, they're drunk, they're addicts, whether cigarettes, alcohol, or other stuff like that. They're crazy, they stink, or they're constantly looking for fights, or they're very violent. The amount of times yesterday I heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, I'm about to put hands on him." I'm gonna put hands on him next time I see him. And then yesterday somebody was on the phone talking for several minutes. They were like, "My aim is very good. My aim is whatever. My whole family's gang members. I can go over there and I can call one of them. Or next time I run into you, don't think I'm going to be nice, because you're either going to get beat or you're going to get shot and killed, or both." And I was listening to their conversation like these, and all these examples are black guys, which I think, by the way, I think these are the type of black guys that is someone behind me. These are the type of black guys that prioritize black women over all other types of women. Because as far as my dating preference, typically, there's exceptions. I'm even talking to some dark-skinned black women on dating apps, brown skin, but generally it's light skin / mixed, and then whites, Latinas, Asians, Arabs, Polynesians, and pretty much just every other group. But yeah, I'm just trying to, and today one of my boys told me about a apartment that is income based, and yesterday or 2 days ago, another one of my homies said that he was moving out, and he told me the property he used. Both of those places are very close. And I said today, when I was talking to one of my other homeboys that I met here at the homeless shelter, I met both of them, and I have both of their numbers. The one who I spoke to today, I was like, this place looks close, as long as it's close enough for me to make it to work in a reasonable distance. Because over here at the homeless shelter, even though I'm working and I got a little extension, they still track my income. So 70% of it has to be saved, 20% has to be spent on needs, and 10% has to be spent on wants. And you can't bring food in there, you can't walk in with food. You realize how many homeless people came before you that messed it up for everybody else after. You can't wash your clothes there. You have to go to another place that's 15 minutes away that's called Horizon House. They give you a sack lunch, and there's a place directly across from Horizon House called Second Helpings. They also give you a sack lunch, and I had to dry my shoes over there. A few days ago, somebody at the homeless shelter actually looked out for me. One of the janitors, he's super nice. He was taking care of a very old man who had bug bites all over him because he had a walker, but he had a million clothes on it. And after that, that was 2 days ago, I believe, or 3 days ago. But after that day, he still had the walker, but he didn't have any more clothes on it. It was just 2 bags of stuff. And the janitor was cleaning him up. He was like, I've been doing this since I was 16. And that same janitor, he washed my shoes because you can't wash shoes at Horizon House. So I was at the shelter. He was like, I'm not the police. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm more than happy to look out. So after it got washed, I went to Second Helpings. And they took me to a bathroom in the back where I could use a hand dryer to dry 2 pairs of shoes that I had. One of them was this. And another one was a pair of black Jordans. And yeah, but the homeless shelter gets mad at homeless people eating, but probably just because of a lot of unsanitary people. And also after that interaction with the staff member and the white guy who had a disability, that staff member had to call another janitor who was on the clock today. And he was telling the janitor that someone had shitted all over the wall and stuff like that inside the bathroom. The bathrooms don't have any privacy. The showers don't have any privacy. When you sleep, it's a big dorm room. People smell bad. People just, I don't know, it just smells bad for different reasons. But and it's freezing cold in that dorm room, bro. Like, it's shivering. And we used to be allowed to bring 2 sheets, but somehow when it gets colder, they tell us to only get 1 sheet and stuff like that. And you can't even bring water up there. Now, for the 5 days I was at the residential center, you could bring water. But either way, I'm gonna try and I called some hotels a few days ago. Someone at Horizon House told me they had an apartment in mind, but that might be way later down the line. And I don't think that apartment is income-based. But the 2 people at the homeless shelter told me about 2 income-based apartments. Because today I was asking if the hotels still do vouchers, and one of the 2 people I was talking to, he was like, they don't do that no more, so that's fucked. You realize how many people screwed it up before you even got in this position, and just how much bullshit you have to deal with, how much paperwork you have to read, everything you have to sign, a million things. People have to drive you places. You just don't have power. Like, nobody. And people try and downplay the importance of money. I said this before I was homeless. Not only was I worried about how people would treat you, but I also said money is so important, and people are hypocrites to act like it's not that important. Like, nobody's going to go homeless and be like, oh, I loved it so much because I grew to appreciate what? Like, it's not like your life was better. Your life was better because you had money, you had control over your own life, resources. When athletes get into problems, people act like money was the issue. Like, that's not the issue. If you have an addiction, that's a mental problem. Like, don't try and put it on the money. Plus, you can't really compare to being rich, like somebody who's my age. I met an NFL player. It was last week. Some members from the Colts came in, and I was talking to an NFL player who was 24 years old, and I'm 25, and he said we're about the same size, and he was 5'9", I'm 5'10", he was 5'9" and 170 something, and I'm 5'10" and 150. a buck 50, but this guy is fully playing for the Colts, and the owner was there and everybody else. And I said, because I looked it up, those owners are actually are three women. They are the daughters of the former owner. I'm like, those people are not going to struggle. And I said, if I ever have kids, you know what, I'm probably never going to have kids, but if I do, I'm going to make sure that they are not going to struggle whatsoever. That's an auto pay notification. But yeah, that was like, this guy's gonna be, let's say he goes to Paris. Like, what's my version of that? Looking at a fucking picture of the Eiffel Tower, like looking at pictures of Paris, pictures of Japan. I don't get to experience those people. I'm over here on the clock on Saturday night, just last night. That's how I spent my Saturdays, working an 8.5-hour shift. Now, I do believe you need to grind, not really grind, but you need to be a worker drone robot. You need to be a worker bot until it's your time. But you know, if I did not know anything about the stock market, I don't think I would be confident that I would ever find a way out of this in a significant way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I do read the comments. So stay tuned, because the punishment for recording at the shelter is that you get put out. And I'm going to be out of there. I hope to be out of there very soon, because now I'm going to call these 2 income-based places and get out, because I don't have freedom. I'm trying to come home, go to sleep, wake up, work out when I want to, bring in food when I want to, go to bed when I want to, and wake up when I want to. That's convenient for me to get enough sleep and go to work without having to get permission to use the fucking bathroom, use the fucking shower, and not be allowed to bring food in or have food next to me when I go to bed. And what else? And you have to go to a locker and get your shit. I haven't lost a single thing basically that I wanted to lose. I left a package of hygiene products out, and then I went to the front to ask for another bag, and somebody yanked that, but I already closed my locker. All the stuff I had before I went homeless, I still have it. My phone, keys, my phone, wallet. I don't have a car anymore. They moved our lock. My locker got moved from the outside to the inside. So, what's it called? And that one did not have a lock, so I had to buy a manual lock. I had to buy that one with 3 keys attached. I dropped the keys inside the lunchroom, and somebody was like, I was asking people, I said, did someone call for keys? Because I checked my wallet and realized they were missing. And then my keys had fallen down inside the cafeteria. And, you know, I'll tell you this, as unlucky as I've been, I will say that Lady Luck has been working overtime for me, I would say. I would definitely say that. So, yeah, even with some of the, you said what? You said what? I think it's 5 on Sundays. 5.
Thank you, appreciate it. I like your glasses. Where you get your glasses from?
I got them a long time ago. I think it was from it's a eyeglass place. I think Navel, Navel. It's on Washington Street, Indianapolis, on the east side.
Nice. It look nice on you.
Thank you.
You stay downtown?
Do I stay downtown? I'm just here for a little while, and then I have to go back home to my family. And
Your family's here or out of town?
oh no, they're out of town.
Where are you from?
I'm from very far away.
Oh, okay. It's nice meeting you.
Yeah, I like to stay mysterious. I'm sorry. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Nice seeing you.
Nice to see you. He had very, very messed up teeth, but yeah, I am reading your. Also, he could have just asked a staff member, but I am reading your guys' comments, and What if you guys want to know? Just make sure you ask me and stay tuned because I have like, if I wanted to talk about everything in detail, I would have tons of hours of footage. Also, when the Colts came, I got a signed thing with the two cheerleaders. And when the two cheer, I was talking to one of the, there was a blonde cheerleader and one that had brown hair. When I was talking to the blonde one, I was like, I had a teacher in high school who used to be a cheerleader for the Colts, and she was like, oh, what's her name? And then I said the name. She was like, oh, I remember her, because the alumni sometimes come in. And then when the two cheerleaders were leaving, the blonde one was like, bye, Taffy. I'm like, because I was trying not to turn around and look because my back was toward the entrance. I don't like to like be too aggressive on women, especially attractive ones, because I know they are probably expecting a lot of attention. And the one office lady at the front, she's kind of thick and she's light skinned, so I'm like, some of them, I'm like, I already know when she comes to a homeless shelter full of men, she's expecting a lot of attention. The one woman, there's a lot of places I go to as a homeless guy where there's one woman in the room, and when you're one woman in the room and you're also attractive, you can expect mountains of attention. But so a lot of people call her by her nickname. I say Miss and then call her by her full name, and she was like, wow, you call me by my full name when I started doing that. So I called her by her nickname once, and then at the second time I was calling her full name and stuff like that. Just to establish that there's a distance, that I don't want it to get too personal or try and be too fun or too friendly. I keep it respectful but not friendly. I don't try to do that with women who are working or have to serve homeless people because I know they're used to it. At Horizon House, somebody was like, you women look so beautiful. I mean, you just look so amazing. And the women were like, okay, bye. This is a homeless guy who was walking out with his sack lunch. But yeah, if I could talk about everything I wanted to, it would be like movies worth, 3 hours worth. Just all the problems I deal with at the homeless shelter. I'm going to call the two income-based places and see if I can get my own situation set up just so I can live again. I just need a place to lay down and wake up and bring my own food and sleep when I want to. Sleep, a room of my own to exercise, a bathroom with privacy again. What the fuck? The residential center had privacy with the bathrooms and the showers, though. I will say that. And my own privacy in the bathroom. What the fuck? When I sleeping, not having to worry about people stealing my stuff, having my own door with a lock. I was trying to see what deals that hotels could figure out with me about, but tomorrow is Monday. So I'm going to call those two income-based places that my friends told me about. And one of them was like, how much do you make? I was like 12, and then they were like, if you make less than a certain amount, they can do boom, 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 boom. They can do whoop-de-woo, whatever. So I'm going to call those two places tomorrow because I'm trying to get out of here even before my 2 months runs out. Because I do not like the amount of restrictions. It's so inconvenient. I need to just get in the shower, and I got to fucking ask people. And people shitting all over the wall and stuff, just unsanitary people. I already told you all the characteristics that a lot of the people have. And I was like, a few days ago, I was like, man, and this is like thoughts that you don't say out loud. I was like, some of these homeless people need to just be put down like dogs, like just sick dogs, and just be categorized alongside trash and go to the compost alongside. Would that be unsanitary? Well, a lot of unsanitary. I was like, would that be unsanitary? But a lot of unsanitary stuff goes in the trash. And some of them are like the human equivalent of trash. Like the guy that tried to sit next to me last night. He had grass all over his back jacket as well, like he was laying down. But yeah, I have one consistent person who's commenting. Stay tuned, because once I'm out of these apartments, I'm gonna have a lot more. You'll get some more insight once I'm fully done with this experience, and I plan to be out very soon, even in less than 2 months, because it's just so annoying having everybody have to monitor and do everything and approve even the most basic tasks that I would have just done, stuff that I did every day without a second thought. So stay tuned, because more stuff is coming out.